Hi, and welcome to Get Enlightened with Master O, a program about energy, wisdom, and healing. And we're here with Master O, who's an ambassador for happiness and health for humanity, and with Libo, who's an artist, model. He's got his own band called BX with a big following and a very creative young man. And we're super excited to have you here. So welcome on the program, on the podcast.
It's always my pleasure.
Libo, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm an American-born Brit, raised in Salford, Manchester. I could spend hours contextualizing my life and story, but it's been an interesting one for sure. Yeah, art and life and the world is interesting, and so it's been my ride meeting you lot.
Just before we actually met you, and it was such an extraordinary time, I remember. You were so different back then, and you were going through so much, and I was so touched by what happened with your family. Tell us a bit about your dad.
When I had originally come, it was just in a very dark, what I felt was individually personal time in my life, and a very dark time indeed it was. To brush over it quickly, I was successful. I've had great success in all the things that I've done. I made great money. I had a great place to live. I traveled. I had great people around me, and I got to do all the things I think that a person in their 20s could wish to do, bouncing around and having fun. But still, I felt a great lacklessness, and came to a pretty severe precipice with it in regards to any joy at all. Sort of chasing any possible joy that could fulfill and fill something in me that clearly was awry. In the depths of that precipice, I felt kind of at the end of my rope. Having searched in so many avenues for joy and contentment, had decided at that time that I was kind of finished with my experience here. And so I had an attempt on my life, which I made it through by a miracle, obviously.
Did you feel just a very deep depression?
Yeah, just and the oddness was that it wasn't even actually always like a deep depressionary sadness, but just a complete lack of anything, like nothing. I couldn't feel anything. I couldn't feel joy or, just a complete and total lack of depth. And
Like something was blocking your emotions?
for sure. And all my life, I actually have felt very extreme emotions to everything. It felt as if, something was finished or had died inside of me or something. I couldn't find any solace. Foolishly made this attempt on my life and was found and fought through it. And then obviously post that, making a very final decision like this, you're in an odd place. I felt as if I was in some sort of a limbo, like I didn't really want to be here, but I suppose I felt gracious that I was, but also wasn't sure if I wanted to continue still, and but was fearful even more now at the decision that I had made and how it felt and coming out of the other side of it. So it's a very odd place to be, and I was trying as hard as I could to attain some sort of light through spirituality and meditation, and as hard as I tried, still, I just was plagued with darkness. And Fiona, who obviously you both know and have treated, recommended that I come see Master O. And I had done my own sort of looking into Qi healing and Qigong and the world of energy, and had thought very interesting things of it, so I was open to it, but I didn't expect as much as I would come to find out a difference it would make. And so I had my first meeting with Master O, and even the initial meeting, and I'm not sure if it's the same with everybody else, but we had kind of this this moment that we would share every time before we had a session where we transcended normal communication. I would just sit with him and sit in his presence like we are now, and immediately I would feel very, very tired. I'd feel very relieved and subdued, and I always remember the air in the office just behind us, feeling like the purest air I had ever breathed in, and just wanting to really fill my lungs with all of that. And it was clearly, obviously, this energetic experience that I was having, even just being around him more at this point of high energy. So the air and everything instantly felt different, even when I sat with him the first time, and obviously didn't know what to expect. So that was surprising. And then the other obvious surprise was doing my short session with him, which usually doesn't last more than 10, 15 minutes at most, and feeling utterly reborn, instantly almost. I remember the next day, actually, I went and had lunch, had a Sunday roast with Fiona, who had recommended, and just walking down the road and seeing the leaves blow and the sunshine and the breeze blow through my hair and by my skin, and just feeling like I had never experienced it before. It's funny, actually. I feel a little emotional talking about it, which seems a bit silly, but it was as if, yeah, truly I had been reborn. It was such a powerful experience, and one I will never forget. And I can see it playing through, which is probably what's making me emotional. I can see it play through my head like a film. Like it really is. It was so profound and made such a profound difference in my life. I felt brand new. I felt like I truly was alive again, and that every avenue was open then again. And not only the spiritual difference, but avenues that were blocked in business and success and my artistry and investments even, you know, like multiple avenues in my life that had seemingly been stuck, instantly that day opened up. Like I had that day, the next day after my session, got amazing news about an investment and some work opportunities and stuff. So it was like from that moment, my life got instantly projected onto a new universal path. It was amazing, really, which then obviously will segue probably into the next part. As the sessions continued, we got to the root cause, which was the origin.
Well, I guess Mastro, he spoke about what he saw, and do you remember, Mastro, why you thought that Libo was carrying this heavy darkness and this heavy cloud?
Yeah, just while you were talking, just memories come back to me, where you're sitting, how you're sitting, and your face. But you're a very, very genuine person, and I could see the both side. Like some people, people have a both side. One is the light and the dark side. For you, was extreme, and then the light. Sometimes we connect to the inner light. Sometimes we connect to the light outside. Sometimes we connect to inner darkness. Sometimes we connect to darkness outside. And you connect to the both, but the darkness was a really powerful, very, very dominant at that time.
Yeah.
And then was the talking to you, trying to put yourself into me. That's what I'm doing. When people coming, I could see their light, their energy, and their suffering, their problems, their pain.
Yeah.
The more the problem they have, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to put them, embrace everything they have, put them inside me, and as much as I can. But for you, was because of you have a genuine side, the bright side. I could do that, and the other side was quite active.
Yeah.
But you open yourself. You took the step to a lot of the dark side coming from the past lives and from the ancestors.
Yeah.
But you open to that. You took a step. That made a huge difference. And I saw you today. I couldn't recognize you because your face is changing, your energy is changing, your brightness is changing,
Yeah.
and you are in a complete stay in a different place. And it's so wonderful. And because of your brightness, when what I'm sharing, the universal, the light, love energy, when people receive the light, more light they have, they are naturally staying in a higher brighter, a better place.
Yeah.
Then from there, the light supporting your insight, your future, your fortune, your talent, everything started opening up with the light. But that was so wonderful. You received that so well.
I felt it, and I couldn't even begin to express the gratitude that I had at the time for the clearing. You know, I hate to be redundant, but it was an instant change. I didn't believe, I couldn't conceive that I would feel that great of a difference day by day. You know, the day before, not wanting to even roll out of bed, you know, not being able to stand the idea of being awake in another day, to noticing all the beauty around me and how powerful it felt. And as you'd said about my light, I remember specifically as well how much it meant to me, a compliment that you gave, that wow, you're very powerful, you have great ability for light. And I felt really special about coming from the master, obviously, who had changed me and my life so much. So thank you, honestly. I've recommended everybody I could. It is a very real and potent thing, and I have been in very opposite worlds to the spiritual realm, and as big of a difference as it made on me, and obviously, as we'll get into, my line.
Yeah. Libo, I remember when I met you, and you spoke about how your father passed away, and how you could somehow feel what he went through, and how Master pointed out that it was very much his vibration that was with you. And can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, it was an interesting thing. My dad was an addict, and he was an addict since I could remember, and I had experienced a lot of that in parallel with him.
What was his addiction to?
He was a speedball addict, which is heroin mixed with an upper, so either mixed with cocaine or crack or meth. It's basically a functioning way of doing heroin. So you don't go into what they call the heroin sleep. You can be awake and still function on heroin. Yeah. I watched and witnessed and experienced the throes of his addiction with him. And I felt very much like sort of a friend in passing, growing up with him rather than his son. You know, it was like we were kind of fighting the battles together. My mum being back in America and me being on my ones with him. It was a very interesting experience for a young lad to
Must have been so tough.
It's interesting, I don't know, you know, I guess what you adjust to, what you know from the beginning. Yeah. To me, I didn't know any different. So yeah, I just loved my dad and I just wanted him to be well. It was really just holding on as tight as I could to dream of my dad and I having some sort of normal experience as a father and son. And that, you know, if I could help him get past this thing, that we would, you know, someday we would kick a football and, you know, in the park together, or, you know, go on a motorcycle ride together, or do all the things that, you know, he had promised that we would do. And unfortunately, in the end, addiction took him. He overdosed, and abruptly, after a long spell, unfortunately, of him being clean. So I thought he was, you know, was on the ups, and as I'm sure happens to many people who deal with addiction, you know, he backslid and overdosed from that, which, yeah, was obviously a shock. And as much as I thought I could have prepared myself for it, because you're obviously, as a family member of an addict, you're always aware of the possibilities of outcome. You know, there's either two things. With addiction, there's obviously parallel to life of crime. So, you know, my dad had a lot of trouble with the law, and so it was either two things. He was going to end up in prison for the rest of his life, or he was going to pass from drugs, and he passed away from drugs in the end. And so it was certainly a shock, and certainly added to the experience that I was having prior to meeting Master Ro. And the ancestral aspect to it and guiding myself back through that line definitely I felt was necessary, especially...
What did you think when you heard about ancestor healing, or when you heard about ancestors and the vibration of ancestors?
I found it intriguing, but I didn't know what to expect or its legitimacy, or, you know, as I'm sure many people coming in here, and but it made sense after having trusted in the process here and having that material experience that I did with Master Ro. It made sense, and I knew of the sort of path that my father and his brothers and many before had had, and it was all pretty dirty. You know, there was a lot of complication that had gone quite far back. So, and I certainly knew that none of them will have done anything that could have made a difference to their energetic experience. So I kind of felt it was up to me, you know, to go and kind of turn those stones. And I'm the last of the line for my last name. So I also felt like the honor of being able to do it for them, reaching
Beautiful.
back. And, well, the experience itself was pretty amazing, just like everything has been in this. I had a very, very vivid dream before I actually did the night before, actually, I did the ancestral ceremony. And I found my dad in a home surrounded by dozens of other homes. Funny enough, it's similar to paintings of where spirits live in Asian culture. They all have like these little square houses together. They all live like quite close in these tiny little houses. And the neighborhood felt similar to this. I guess for an applicable analogy, it felt like something of like a Ghibli film or something, a Miyazaki film, if anyone gets the anime reference. And it felt like this, you know, like these little spiritual homes, like an in-between. And I found him there in this home, and there was food containers and plates and bowls and bottles and all sorts of things of living use skittered about everywhere. It was an absolute mess. And he was lying asleep on the floor. He was dirty, and he looked very tired, and he looked very sad. In the dream, I laid next to him on the floor, and I held him from the back, and I just stayed with my arms around him for a while. Pressed my head against his back and listened to him breathe, his heartbeat. And then I woke up, and then I had the ceremony that night, which, as you both know, we have a long period of meditation prior to making our offering to the universe and the ancestors. During this meditation, which, no surprise, happened to be one of my most profound experiences of meditation, I found myself back in this house with him, and I was clearing all the mess and kind of putting it into piles, and then finally again walked over to him lying on his back in the same place I had left him on the floor, and I helped him up in a seated position, and I brushed his face off and looked at him, and I said, I think it's time to go. I think it's time for you to move on from this place. You don't have to be here anymore. Helped him onto his feet, and we walked to the back door. And when we opened the back door, quite film-esque and cliche, there was all white light. I held his hand as he halfway stepped one foot out into the white light and turned back. Looked at me, and we shared the most intense eye contact I'd ever had with him. And I held his face with both hands, and I kissed him on the lips. I said, I love you, and you will always be with me, but you don't have to stay here with me. And I said, it's all right for you and all of this to move on. You can be at peace now. He walked into the light. It was incredibly intense, and it was during the meditation I felt bad coming out of it because I felt like I was disturbing everyone else in the group, because it was one of the times I had sobbed the hardest in my life. I think all of this energy and experience with him and his past and my past and everything was pouring out of me.
Wow.
In that moment, and let it go.
It's so touching to hear that.
Just you're an incredible person.
You really are.
Because of your care and the love, your brightness, you take so many things into you. You don't complain, and you love your father. And then when I look at the people, yeah, we need the light, so much light, especially when we are in a darker place. When we connect to the bad experience in the past, without knowing we stay there, then the most of the time that place is connected to a darker place created by the ancestors. So the ancestors need so much light, and clearly you give the ancestors a chance to receive the brightness from the universe, and they have the chance to heal themselves. When you do the healing, yeah, finally you know, I've done my job. So you can let everything that you've been carrying, you can let them go. You are free from that, all the past, the karma experiences, and you're more connected to your inner self. And then you took the journey really beautifully.
The latter side of the ancestral ceremony was different than obviously the sessions that I had with you. It wasn't as instant for me, and I certainly didn't feel surprised by that, because I felt that there was a lot to be released, and that it would probably be bit by bit. I felt like I had obviously released a massive hoard during the experience, but I want to say it was a good week or two of processing, and it certainly was that. But yes, as time then went on, even in an odd time, I mentioned to Anna before that she didn't realize that I'd done the ceremony, and then a week later we actually went into lockdown.
Do you remember that?
It was a very interesting time in the world. I remember, I think you were going back to Korea or to Spain to kind of base yourself, because we weren't sure what was going to happen. And obviously the world was very abuzz in a very different energetic experience, and there was a lot of tension, but as a lot of people have asked, my initial experience with all of it, and I think part and parcel to having cleared my energy prior, was very, very good. I had a good 3, 4 to 6 months that were amazing, despite the world being closed. And
how did you feel the difference inside you, and how did you feel the difference in your mind once the whole thing settled?
Of mind, it was silence, particularly sleep. Sleep is something I've always struggled with, even as a kid. When I was a younger kid, it was night terrors and sleepwalking and bedwetting, all an array of those things, which is characteristic to childhood trauma. But the other effects of sleep continued on, insomnia and night terrors still, and such like that, sleep paralysis, into being an adult, and that cleared up majorly. I just remember being able to just kind of lay back, and also different position of sleep, which was interesting. I was able to just sleep on my back, just lay right back on my back and just drift so easily into sleep. So silence of mind, and I'm sure this is the characteristic comment of a lot of people who experience this, but lightness of body and soul, for sure. Getting out of bed was easier, and just a general lightness of mood, and things didn't irritate me as easily, and all those sort of things. Wow.
And what change can you see, Master, in Libo, since you met him, and through the times that you met him and treated him, and after he did the ancestor healing to today?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, you're completely different persons. Yeah, this is the big things, and if we clear what trigger the problems, a lot of the times we're dealing with our, so much the extreme emotions, the darkness, the fear. There's a lot of the other emotions, and we're trying to deal with these emotions. But these emotions are coming from deep inside us. The most of the time from connected to the life with the family, or the life from the family and the ancestors. So the more the serious the problem we have, we need to tackle the cause of the problems. But this cause of the problems is invisible. It's very hard to people can see, and but for you, because you care about the life, and you took all the necessary the steps that you could take. You did that, and then make a huge difference. And then so.
And it was
this
very
is
good timing.
Yeah.
This is
and even as the years proceed, it's interesting, obviously life doesn't stop being life, difficult times arise, but your ability to manage those things and continue to cultivate positive energy and light, at least for me, has felt easier. And perhaps that's as it's been because I had the massive release of blockage and darkness from my past. The light could continue to stay and perpetuate through the years and even grow in times.
You obviously came with a deep mission.
Yeah.
Brightness. Well, we'll come to the exciting part when Master is going to give you treatment.
Can't wait.
Is there anything you're struggling with at the moment that you need help with, that he needs to know?
Maybe just light stress or life stress. I'm in the middle of a moving continents.
Going to America.
Yeah, moving to America, moving to Texas. But yeah, I don't know. I feel very grateful and very at ease with whatever may come. I feel really trusting in the universe at the moment, and who knows what shall come. But any benefit of light and clearing will go a long way. I'm expecting a son in September.
Wow, congratulations.
So yeah, I think my biggest hope in that is just to kind of hold on to that whatever light I get from this session and take it and give it to him and her, and put it into them, because I'm doing all right.
Okay, that's great.
Okay.
How do you feel?
Like I did every time before. You wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, you receive the light and the energy so well. It's really.
Even having it been so many years since I've seen it, it still feels just as potent as it did before. The level of peace that I'm experiencing at the moment and inside, and calmness radiating over my body it's just as profound. And I just hope that anyone can experience it and that they see the authenticity of the experience in what I've said, and that gives them the ability to embrace it. Because whatever it is that is happening here, something that I for sure cannot explain the science of or whatever else, it is profound, and it has affected me deeply in many points in my life, and I'm sure again now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh. Yeah, thank you so much, Libo. It's so good to see you again.
And you too. It's always special.
You've always been, I'm sure you've always inspired people since you were young, and everything you share seems so genuine always. Yeah,
I hope so.
exciting to see you
I just hope
looking
that
brighter.
yeah, anyone can receive a granule of what I've experienced from this place in Master Owen and these healing experiences, because yeah, again, as I say, they are just so profound. I wish there was a way that I could open my chest or my mind and be like, look at all of this, look at what I'm feeling, look at this energy that is boiling in me right now that gives me such bliss. But I can't. You'll just have to take my word for it.
Yeah, your heart is beautiful, and you're artist, so that very sensitive to feel this. So really grateful for you to being together with us and sharing all your experiences today.
I'm very grateful about it, and I'm happy and hopeful that any of what I've taken part in this and you guys' journey in this film can be the thing that brings more people to the light with understanding.
Absolutely.
So,
And may this light stay with you now with your move to Texas.
yeah.
And we're looking forward to catching you very soon.
I'm gonna hold it, give it to my little one and my partner.
Exactly. And for everybody who's watching today, we hope you feel enlightened as well. We hope you received a lot of energy through the treatment and that you go away with a lot of hope, a lot of happiness, and a lot of light. And we'll see you again very soon. Thank you very much. And thank you so much, Libo. It's lovely to have you here.
Thank you too. Thank you. I'm so grateful. Thank you. Try it.